Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The former US President Donald Trump has appeared in court in Florida to face charges of mishandling sensitive documents after he left the White House. The former president entered the courthouse in Miami, where hundreds of media and supporters had gathered for an initial hearing, the second time he has appeared in court this year. Miami's police chief said the force was ready for crowds of between 5,000 and 50,000 people to gather.
I think it's safe to say we're working with partners, our law enforcement partners at all levels, to make sure that we're communicating, to make sure that we're prepared, to make sure we're sharing information, and ultimately to ensure that tomorrow goes off without any hitch. And so we wanted to ensure the public that we are ready.
We have extremely high confidence of the residents and the folks that live here in the city of Miami. They are used to demonstrating, they are used to exercising their First Amendment rights, and they are incredibly respectful and supportive of law enforcement here in South Florida.
Russia has been accused of a massive missile attack on several civilian buildings in Kryvyi Rih, the home city of President Volodymyr Zelensky. At least 6 people died and several others were injured, with pictures showing a 5-story apartment block with smashed windows and smoke rising. The building was still burning on Tuesday morning, hours after it was hit by the missile strike. Volodymyr Zelensky, who was born in Kryvyi Rih, condemned the attack on his hometown. At least 4 other people were wounded in missile strikes on other buildings in the city. The death toll from a flood sparked by last week's Kharkovka dam breach has reportedly risen to 17 in areas of Ukraine's Kherson region that are held by Russia. Coastal areas were flooded after the destruction of the infrastructure, for which both sides blamed each other. However, the evidence overwhelmingly suggests it was Russia's doing. Most of Kherson remains inundated, although floodwaters have begun to subside following the destruction of the dam. A 31-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of murder following the deaths of 3 people in Nottingham city centre in the United Kingdom. Police say they were called at 4 a.m. British Standard Time, where 2 people were found dead. A man was also found dead a few streets away. Officers then say there was another incident where a van attempted to run over 3 people who were being treated for their injuries.
A white van pulled up beside me and I thought, oh, that's weird. So I looked.
And this was at the Theatre Royal, just at the corner there?
Yeah, just on the corner. And he looked in his mirror, saw a police car behind him. He then quickened up. There was 2 people turning the corner. He went straight in to these 2 people. The woman went on the curb. The man went up in the air. It was such a bang. I wish I never saw it, because it's really shaken me up.
Clashes and gunfire have resumed in the greater capital area of Sudan after the latest 24-hour temporary ceasefire agreement between the Sudanese armed forces and the Rapid Support Forces expired. The greater capital area of Sudan, composed of Sudanese capital Khartoum and neighbouring cities of North Khartoum and Omdurman, is one of the most affected areas by the ongoing armed clashes between the 2 sides. Several blocks in the southern part of Khartoum were shelled for 2 consecutive days, resulting in at least 18 civilian deaths with dozens of others injured. Both sides have accused each other of launching attacks right after the ceasefire ended. And Sir Paul McCartney says he has employed artificial intelligence to help create what he calls the final Beatles record. He said the technology had been used to extricate John Lennon's voice from an old demo so he could complete the song. Sir Paul did not name the song, but it is likely to be a 1978 Lennon composition called Now and Then. It had already been considered as a possible reunion song for the Beatles in 1995 as they were compiling their career-spanning anthology series. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.